So we set some goals for the beginning of the year. Everybody sets goals. It's January. Everybody, is in that mindset of like, oh, we're going to achieve this, we're going to achieve that. I'm going to like turn my life around. New year, new me. And that was basically what I did in my second ever video actually, which is crazy thinking about it now. I put out my 2021 goals, reading goals for the year. And right now I just want to go back to that video and look over what my goals were and see how I'm matching up to them right now. If I'm on pace to like keep up with my goals, if wow, there's so many New York noises. So I want to see if I'm doing good on my goals, if I've been keeping up with them, if I've completely failed or just disregarded some of them. So I'm gonna let you know right now, go back through that video and let you know how I'm doing on my 2021 goals at the halfway point right now. Okay, so the first goal of the year was to read 40 books, not 40 books. And so right now I counted up all the books that I've read so far, and I've read a total of 27 books in 2021, which is like far and away the best year of reading I've ever had. I am obviously outpacing my 40 years goal, not 40 years, my 40 book goal, because at a halfway point I should have read 20. I'm 7 ahead of that. I'm on pace to read 54, which is an insane number. And honestly, I'm just thinking right now, maybe I'll have to like re-up that goal and change it to 60, because I want to challenge myself and kind of do better than I did in the first half of the year. And I feel like I even could have done better than that, because I have had 2 really slow months of reading. And so I feel like 60 books by the end of the year is very, very doable. But basically, I'm doing amazing this year for my standards at least. I'm very proud of myself. 27 books is something that I probably would have never imagined when I started this, or before I started this. When I started this, I imagined I would be around the 30 or 40 range by the end of the year. But 27 books in 6 months is insane for me. I think I read 27 books in all of 2020. I just blew that out of the water, and I'm very, very happy about that. I've already reached that, and I'm only halfway through the year. I think 60 is very attainable, and hopefully I can get there. It's only 33 more books, so doing great on that goal so far. My second goal of the year, though, I am not doing quite as well. Well, like my second and my third, which were my genres. So I wanted to read a lot more nonfiction and sci-fi, because my original reading journey, I started out reading a lot of nonfictions, and I wanted to get back to that. And for the sci-fi part of it, I have never read sci-fi before, and so I wanted to get introduced to the genre. I wanted to explore the genre and see what I liked in it and what I didn't like. So let's take this one step at a time, right? So the nonfictions. I think I've only read like 1, maybe 2 nonfictions this year, which is not that great, to be honest. I was expecting to maybe do like 1 a month, but I guess I've just been caught up in all of the fantasy reads through the year, like the fantasy and the sci-fi and all the fiction books. So I haven't really gone into the nonfictions that I wanted to get to. And I did actually just add 1 or 2 more nonfiction books to my TBR today, because I'd heard about it in this like webinar thing that I was a part of, and they sounded really interesting. So I added those to my list, because I have been slacking so much with nonfiction, and I find it so intriguing and so interesting, and like so many conversations can be had around that. And honestly, I just feel like it makes me smarter, which I like. I love learning new things. Obviously, you can learn a lot from fiction, but nonfiction is just something that like you really get to like learn so much. And so I want to get back to that. Maybe, I don't know, set a light goal for myself where I read 4 books, 4 more nonfiction books by the end of the year, so I can like double my first half goal. And so, maybe I'll total 6 books by the end of the year, but that hasn't been going well at all. And then my second genre goal was to read more science fiction to get into the genre. And I started off pretty well, right? I started off reading The Martian, which I liked well enough. The main character is amazing in that book. And I also read 2 of the Murderbot Diaries, the first 2 novellas. I read those. So I got some sci-fi under my belt. And I also read Neuromancer. So I read a little bit, right? I dabbled a bit. I wasn't blown away by anything. I didn't fall in love with anything. I didn't quite hate it, except for Neuromancer. Neuromancer was crap to me. Just my opinion. You guys can love it, but I hated it. But the other 2 were going pretty well. I don't know why I haven't picked any more sci-fi up, but I do want to pick up more sci-fi through the end of the year, and I will be reading Dune right before the movie comes out so that I can do like the movie versus book and book review and all of that. So really look out for that. That's really exciting. I've been planning this since like, not planning, I like planned to do this way at the beginning of the year because I knew the movie was coming out. So more sci-fi on the way, and I guess I've been doing a little bit better with that goal than I have with the nonfiction. But honestly, with both nonfiction and sci-fi, I've been slacking a lot, and I want to get back into it and start reading more of those things. And I think it's just a problem of like, I have so many fantasy books and so many fantasy series that I want to get to that I've just been pushing the other things more and more down my list because I really want to get to the fantasy stuff. But I feel like it's good to have a balance, and you know, like I have my whole life to read, so these stories aren't gonna get like thrown away and burnt or like deleted from the world anytime soon. So I have my whole life to read all these things, so I want to get to like the sci-fi and the nonfiction because I want to have a little more diversity in what I read. Oh, and real quick, I just took a look at my bookshelf again just to like refresh my mind, and I also read The Lathe of Heaven, which is a sci-fi like really short book. It's like 100 and maybe 200 pages. It's really short, but that is by far my favorite sci-fi of the year so far. Absolutely amazing story, blew me away, so freaking cool, and so many conversations to be had around it. So cool. Definitely recommend The Lathe of Heaven. All right, and so the next part of that original video where I set my goals for 2021 was a TBR, and I have done pretty well with them. I think I got to like half or more than half of the books that I put in my TBR there. But as you guys know, happens with TBRs. You get more and more books, you buy new things, you get interested in new books that come out throughout the year, and you push your TBR pile further and further back. And that's happened to quite a bit of stories. So I'm gonna tell you some of the books that I haven't quite gotten to yet that I mentioned in that first video that hopefully I can get to in this second half of the year. But if not, you know, I'm not in any rush, but I would like to get to most of these books by the end of the year. So the first one was Poppy War, and obviously I think that entire trilogy is out already, and it's actually been circulating around YouTube once again. It's like gaining popularity again. I know there was like a big rush about it a couple months ago, but now I've been seeing a lot of booktubers like read and review it recently. So I've been pretty excited about that one, but I'm not sure quite when I'll get to that. It's always intrigued me, just the concept of like a non-medieval, like European-centric story, where this is much more Asian-based and has a lot more different plot and character elements. It seems like a much different kind of fantasy story than I'm used to, and that's really exciting for me. And so I want to get to that at some point, but unfortunately, I haven't gotten to it yet. All right, this next one I've kind of lost interest in, and I don't know if I'll get to it this year. Maybe I'll get to it next year, but I do want to read it at some point. I don't have that excitement for it anymore, and that's The Magicians by Lev Grossman, I think. I had watched the show a couple years ago, and I liked it pretty well, and so I wanted to read the book. But as more things kept coming onto my TBR, as I started hearing about more and more books, that just got pushed more and more back, and I kind of just lost interest in it. So maybe I'll read it at some point, but I don't think I'll quite get to that one this year. All right, this one I'm definitely gonna get to. Well, these next two I'm definitely gonna get to. They're both Stephen King books. The first one is It, which I have right there, and the second one is The Green Mile. So It, I want to read in October. I plan on doing like a spooky season TBR because Halloween, and I'm basic, and you gotta do that for YouTube, obviously. So I want to do a spooky season TBR in October, so look out for that. And so I'm going to be reading It during that month. And then The Green Mile, I'm actually reading this month because Mazza Booktuber, his book club, is reading The Green Mile this month. And so I want to tag along and join in because I love Stephen King. And I doubt he'll watch this video, but I love Stephen King, and I'm joining in his read along, and I'm really, really looking forward to reading more King because it has been like a month or two since I've picked up a King book, which is uncharacteristic of me. So those two books I'm definitely going to get to this year. Really looking forward to it. Stephen King is my favorite author, and hopefully those will be two more amazing entries into my Stephen King library. All right, these next two I mentioned previously in this video. The first one is Dune, which I do want to read right before the movie comes out, so I definitely will be reading that. And actually my girlfriend got me a copy of that book, right there. It's in the corner. I don't know if you can see it, but my girlfriend got me a copy of that book recently. Thank you so much. And so I definitely will be reading it. And then the next one is the Murderbot Diaries. I've read 2 of them in the beginning of the year and then kind of lost sight of that book, of that series, and I haven't really read any more. But they're really short, they're really quick reads, so I want to get back into reading them because they are like fun, lighthearted books that I can read in between like the more lengthy novels. So I definitely want to get back into those, and I think I will definitely be finishing the novellas at least this year. Ooh, this book I also bought recently. I've been buying a lot of books. This is the unending problem for us readers. We have a TBR that we like, and we keep buying more and more books that's outside of the TBR, and then we have those books that we haven't read, and then we buy more books, and some of them are in the TBR, some of them are not, but we're just constantly buying books, and there's always like a backlog. Yeah, and anyways, besides that little ramble, the next one is The Great Gatsby, which I bought, and I'm going to show you the cover of because I loved it, and I bought it literally yesterday, so let me show you. Look at this cover. This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. I didn't plan on buying this originally. I had like 2 books in my hand. I was gonna go to checkout and I was gonna buy these 2 other books, but I saw this book cover for The Great Gatsby, and I've been wanting to read this for so long, and this cover was so damn cool that I had to put the other 2 down so that I can buy this one because I'm broke, and this one was a little more expensive than the other 2. So I bought this one and I'm really excited to read it. Hopefully I'll get to it by the end of the year. I'm not sure, but this book has always like been interesting to me. I've always been curious about it, and especially since I really like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's one of my favorite actors, and he is in the movie. And so I really want to read this, and I don't know, the cool cover is enticing me to read it a little bit more, you know? So hopefully I'll get to it. Okay, the next one is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. And the reason I wanted to read this one was because I read Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, and I really liked that book, so I wanted to read more Agatha Christie. But again, TBRs happen and more books happen and you hear about new things, and I haven't gotten to it. I just haven't gotten to it. This one, I don't know if I'll get to by the end of the year, but it's always in the cards because she's a really great writer, and I really love like a good mystery story, even though I don't read that many of them. But it's really interesting, so I might get to it. I don't know. I'm sorry. For all of these, I'm giving you like flip-floppy answers, but I just don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna read, you know? Like, I like to read what I'm in the mood for, and so I guess you guys are just gonna have to wait and see. All right, and so finally, these last 2 are to fit into my nonfiction goal for the year, and that's Talking to Strangers and The Four. So these 2 books have been on my radar for a really long time. Talking to Strangers is by Malcolm Gladwell, and The Four is by Scott Galloway. And so I've been wanting to read these for a long time, but again, they get pushed back. And I've been craving stories. I've been craving like good narratives and good plots recently, so I haven't been reading that much nonfiction. Maybe I'll get to these. I think I will get to Talking to Strangers by the end of the year because that one just has been on my radar for so damn long that I have to get to it, man. Like, I have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I want to get to it by the end of the year, and so I'm gonna make that happen, and I will give you my thoughts on that, I'm sure, in a wrap-up or maybe a review if you guys are interested. So yeah, so those are all of the books that I want to get to this year that were in my TBR for 2021 that I haven't gotten to. That's how I'm doing it on my goals. I'm on pace to read 54. I think I'm gonna shoot for 60 instead of 40 now because I'm doing pretty good with my goal for books read, and so doing good with that. Nonfiction and sci-fi doing pretty poorly, but hopefully I'll get back into that in the second half of the year. And that's all, folks. I mean, those are all my goals. Those are my updates. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know how you guys are doing on your 2021 goals so far. Are you meeting them? Are you like me and you kind of lost sight of a couple? It's okay. It happens. You know, we're all human. It's fine. As long as you're reading a lot and enjoying what you're reading, nothing else really matters. These are just like arbitrary goals we set for ourselves. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys staying to the end of the video. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe down below. Leave a comment if you like. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like, how you're doing with your goals, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.